Okay, here we go, baby. All right, you are looking live. It's sold out MetLife Stadium with today. The 16-0 and playoff bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Philadelphia Eagles. And why are the Philadelphia Eagles 0-16? Because they suck. They got Nick the Dick Sirianni as their head coach, the worst coach in the history of the NFL, because he's a dick. Started 10-1, couldn't even win the division, couldn't even win 12 games, smoked in the first round of the playoffs because they fucking blow. Philadelphia Eagles, you suck. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there all going to spend a little bit of time with me here to see that, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Or anybody's going to spend any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Means the world to me. Going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight, shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say? Please feel free, fire away. Throw it in the chat box. Usually try to check on the chat box. Give me 5 or 10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free and fire away. But also, I mean, seriously, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever it might wind up being, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So once again, please feel free. Fire away with the comments. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. Description box below, the very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon, the second one's called the Lawrence Taylor, and the third membership level I have is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. Hey, Ruben. Hey, what's up, buddy? Ruben's in the house. If you're subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. I can use all the support I can get, guys, but I'm not. Please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way next time I go live, or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you're subscribed to my channel, thank you. Maybe give this video a thumbs up or share it. That would be freaking awesome. And then finally, also just a little ways down in the description box, there's 2 additional links. Top one's a Facebook link. I'll go over that in just a second. The one underneath it, I'm an old-time fart. I can't stand change. I like things, just don't be changing stuff up on me. I'm too much of a moron to adapt. I keep everything just the way they are, right? I'm an old-time fart. Get off my lawn, right? One of them old-time farts, right? The link underneath, it's a Twitter link. It's always been Twitter to me. It will always be Twitter to me. Whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants me to call it, that's on you, bro. I ain't calling it that. I'm calling it Twitter. Why? Because it's Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. That's an absolute promise. I try to put some Giants-related stuff every day in my Twitter account. And then finally, the link on top of it takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We just went up. We went up to 8,500 members. We were at 8,400 for the past week or so. Now we're up to 8,500 members. It's doing simply marvelous, might add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I have internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group darn near 365. And not only do I put stuff in this group, but the members post stuff in this group. So between me and the members, there's a ton of New York Giants information going in this group every day. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You won't be dissatisfied. I promise. All right. Well, there's 2 more, right? OTAs left. That would be Thursday and Friday. Then you get the mandatory mini camp. So by then, I guess we'll have some kind of a word on the Waller situation. I'm kind of, I don't know. I looked on some of the betting lines. I don't bet, but I looked on some of the betting lines, like what the over under is as far as how many more songs Darren Waller will put out between now and when he has to announce his retirement or when the Giants cut him. And it's a 2. So you got 2. So it's, you got to put your money there. So if he puts out 2, it's a push, right? But if he only puts out 1 and you think it's more than 2 or whatever, so you'll win some money. So it's a 2. So the betting line, all right, so it's 2. Darren Waller will put out at least 2 more songs in his rap album, right, before he announces his retirement or the Giants cut him. So if you want to get on some of that action, get on it now, because he's put out 2 songs. So we're waiting for a couple more songs to come out. Anyway, but we still got, as I said, we still got Thursday and we got Friday. And I think Thursday, the media will be at the OTAs. So we'll get a little more because obviously, it's the nice thing about the media being there. You have a bunch of people there all looking at different things and everything. So we'll get a lot more stories, a lot more articles, just what things kind of look like. Obviously, it's just OTAs. Nobody's winning a job. Nobody's losing a job. If somebody looks fantastic, we're not putting them in the Hall of Fame. If somebody looks absolutely horrible, they're not getting cut. It's OTAs. It's a learning. That's all it is. Some of when you got the 11-on-11s, Daniel Jones is not partaking in that. So our best quarterback, whether you like him or not, as of right now, he's our best chance, right? So like when 11-11s, are on field, we don't have Daniel Jones is not out there. When you hear Brian Burns is in the backfield half the time, well, that's because nobody can touch him. It's kind of tough to stop the wide receivers sometimes when you can't touch them. So it's just OTAs. It's just learning and all of that stuff and everything, stuff. But so we got 2 more of those. Then we got the mandatory mini camps next week, and then they're gone. But the nice thing about it, because once they're gone, it stinks because this is like the whatever you want to call it, the black hole or whatever. It's just like there's like nothing. Nobody's there, nothing's going on or anything like that. But when they come back, it's on. When they come back, it's July, but when they come back next month, guys, it's training camp, right? Preseason games, regular season games. Oh, man. Gotta love it, guys. Gotta love it. So I did see, a lot of times the Giants don't always get a lot of love, especially maybe, and I think it was on a video last night. I was talking about maybe it was NFL.com or ESPN. One of the guys there did all the 32 running back rooms. And, to be fair, the Giants, what were the Giants, 27th? I'm really an idiot. I can't remember. It was 27th or 28th, something like that. 27th, I think it was. They got ranked. And, right, kind of hard to really argue with that. I like Devil. I like Devil Dog. I like Devin Singletary, but he's not. He's not going to be like a bell cow, right? He can't give him the ball 30 times. And all right, we're going to ride you, brother. Get ready to run to tote the rock. That's not him. But he's a very good, very nice running back. But we got a lot of guys behind him that. We got Turbo Miller, no experience. Corbin, right? Eric Gray, very little last season. We just got rid of, the guy actually who had the most experience, we just cut him. Brightwell, right? So we got Corbin, we got Tracy, and we got Turbo Miller, like nothing. Then we got Eric Gray. I should have pulled it up, but he's got what he's known for last season, right? His rookie season, right, was the punting return debacle, right? So that's what he's known for. So there ain't a lot of experience behind Singletary. There's a lot of excitement now. Gray, okay, got drafted by the Giants for a reason. That dude, his freaking legs are big. Saquon still got him. Saquads is still the man. Ain't no doubt in that. All right, Saquads and his quads are freaking tree trunks. But I tell you what, Gray, I'm pretty impressed. You saw a couple of side view shots of him, and he's got some tree trunks there. Let me tell you, we're not talking Earl Campbell, we're not talking Saquads, but they're pretty big. Now we got drafted. All right, he didn't. It's not like Brightwell. He came with Kmart, right? He came with the store, and Shane and Dable. Okay, okay, Brightwell. Okay, he's with the team. Oh, okay, all right. Well, we'll find out if we like him or not. But no, Greg got drafted by Shane, right? And obviously so did Tracy. So I mean, I'm very excited to see what Tracy can do. Especially somebody who has the had played wide receiver. Right, so he can maybe add a little something extra. They drafted Gray for a reason, right? And I'm very excited to see what Turbo Miller can maybe wind up doing here. I think Corbin might be obviously. I mean, unless somebody gets injured, but I could certainly see, without question, Tracy and Singletary, and I can certainly see Gray, being the three. Right now, Corbin, we'll have to wait and see. They brought Turbo Miller in now. Will he possibly be maybe a kickoff man? Because if you can give that dude a crease, nobody's catching him. Was it 4.27, somewhere around there? I forgot what he ran. Nobody's catching him. Okay, so it'd be interesting to see if he winds up making it on maybe like special teams or whatever. But But I said, but with the Giants being ranked at number 27, they said you got Devin Singletary, and then you got a bunch of, inexperienced guys. So it's kind of hard to argue with that. Daniel Jones, one moron put him at the worst quarterback. I mean, the one list. I mean, it's really is simply amazing. The absolute idiot morons are out there. One guy, I think on this one list with Daniel Jones, I think was the 32nd ranked quarterback. I think he had McCarthy ranked above him. I mean, he had like 3 or 4 guys ranked above Daniel Jones who never even thrown a pass in the NFL. I mean, it's just absolute, just total freaking idiots. Absolute. I'm not saying Daniel Jones is Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying he's Dan Marino. He's not. He ain't Roger Staubach. He ain't this. I'm not saying he's a top 15 quarterback or nothing like that. But I mean, you put J.J. McCarthy above him, and I mean, I don't know who else. I know Caleb Williams was above him. I think they put Drake May above him. I mean, guys who never thrown a pass in the NFL. And so anyway. So the Giants don't always get a lot of love, right? But it was nice to see. It was a little refreshing that the Giants actually have 2, right, of the top 32 edge rushers, according to PFF. PFF ranks 2 Giant edge defenders among NFL's top 32. And I don't want to argue with them. I think, in their own right, they certainly deserve some kudos without question. I mean, Kayvon had a very good season last year. Burns, on a rather, not a very good, shall we say, Carolina team, but you also got to look at it too, right? And, Carolina, what happened a lot last year? They were probably losing. Okay. So Carolina was probably the one passing the ball, meaning the other team did not have to necessarily pass the ball as much. They could have maybe gone to the running game, maybe a little bit more, but also if you look at it, Burns was the main man, right? They can maybe slide their coverage over that way, maybe help give some added protection, him, as far as him rushing the quarterback. But now when you got the 2 guys, it's kind of like pick your poison. You want to maybe slide one way, you want to slide the other way. You don't want to get too crazy because you got Dexter Lawrence coming up the middle too. So, the Giants, we should have an uptick in sacks this season, without question. And the nice thing is that we should get some added extra pressure, right? Should hopefully get some extra sacks this season without blitzing 37 guys, right? And the thing was that what was very troubling last season was, and I said, hey, I love Wink. I love his demeanor. I love his attitude, his mind. Blitz. It's hard It's hard to hate that, you know. And I said, I always love him because he's never freaking out on the sideline and stuff like that. He's always calm and everything, right? And I said, I like this. Unfortunately, I was only here for 2 years, but I enjoyed the time with him. We got a lot of turnovers last season. We had a couple games that we didn't score a lot of. Couple games last season where we gave up a lot of points, but then again, some of the games we didn't score really any points, like the Raider game, the Cowboy game. We didn't. The Dolphin game, we had the one touchdown with Pennox run back for a touchdown. So we had some trouble. But Wink being here, I really thoroughly enjoyed his time here. But now we're here with Bowen. And with Bowen, what he likes to do, he likes to get pressure with the front four or the front seven or whatever you want to call it. It's tough to say seven, the front seven. The only thing I can see is if you're talking front seven is you're walking somebody into the box, because you can't just have four guys back there. I mean, you gotta, meaning you can have four guys, but in the modern day NFL, you got to have either two safeties and three corners, or three safeties and two corners, whatever. You got to have whatever you're going to have. You got to have a combo somehow of five. There's no more 3-4. There's no nose tackle, two defensive ends, two outside linebackers, and two inside linebackers. Or there's no 4-3, two ends, two defensive tackles, a middle linebacker, and two outside linebackers. That's maybe, sometime it might evolve back into that somewhere 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the road. But as of right now, basically you got whatever, three linebackers or four linemen, two linebackers, or 3 and 3, whatever you want, however you want to do it. But the game's evolved, obviously. But I mean, having Kayvon and Burns being able to feed off of each other. Just hope they can stay healthy, And the nice thing is too, is you got Azeez coming off the bench. Now we'll have to wait and see if because last season Azeez just did not, he looked a lot better 2 years ago in 2022, but he had his injury problems. But I mean, last season, I don't know if it was injuries were just seeming to take a toll on him, and he just wasn't quite the same. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, if we're bringing him in off the bench, right, and you bring him in for 20 snaps a game or whatever, something like that, is that more, that fit him, meaning keeping him healthy, shall we say. We'll have to wait and see. But I mean, the Giants really have three very, very good edge rushers. The problem is you're not sure with Azeez what's happening with him. And the other thing with him is you're not sure of is after this season, is it going to be bye-bye or what? I mean, because the Giants have not they brought Oshane Ximines back for 1 year, but I mean, Carter, he played 4 seasons and the Giants let him go. Oshane Ximines, another high draft pick. They brought him back for another season, but he was basically, he was like almost non-existent last year. Azeez Ojulari, 2nd round pick. Is he going to be 4 and done? So I'll have to wait and see. But, you need at least 2. And it really would help if they have, if they can get a third one. So I'm saying, after this season's over, what do they do with Azeez? I'll have to wait and see. But I mean, it would be nice if Azeez were to go, if they at least got somebody else in to take a spot. Because I mean, if you can get that, where you can bring guys in off the bench who can rush the quarterback too, that'd be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. But PFF, let's see here. 2 New York Giants have been named to Pro Football's Focus list of top 32 edge defenders heading into the 2024 NFL season. Burns came in at number 21. Okay. All right. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Kayvon came in at number 29. All right. Okay. Fair. Brian Burns. Burns is yet to take that true next step into a near elite category like his talent suggests he can. But in 2023 marked the second best pass rush grade of his career at 75.2 and the highest run defense grade of his career at 62.7. Perhaps the key to unlocking his true talents was moving from Carolina to New York this offseason. Now, let's not forget, right? We got the Godfather. He's going to be putting some of his 2 cents worth into the defensive. He's not just talking to the defensive tackles, right? He's spending some time or doing some talking or whatever with the edge rushers as well too. So maybe that might help too. And I said then I got Thibodeau checked in at number 29. Thibodeau's grades took a step back across the board from 2022 to 2023, and although he recorded 11.5 sacks, his pass rush win rate dropped from 9.5% to 6.4%. And he produced only 3 more pressures despite playing 111 more pass rush snaps. Thibodeau is still a very talented player, but he needs a bounce back 2024 season. Well, you also got to look at too is that we did lose Leo the Lion last season, right? During the season, right? I'm sorry, the year before that. So, and it was just basically, and Azeez was not that effective last season. So I can kind of see where Kayvon took maybe a little bit of a step back. Right? We'll have to wait and see. So the Giants are high on Burns and have been for some time. No, I'm sorry. They lost Leonard Williams. They traded him last season. Yeah, they traded him last season. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm getting my seasons mixed up here. Yeah, they traded Leo the Lion was last season. They traded him. Yeah, so they got a 2nd-round pick for him, and that's the one they used for Burns, I believe it was. Burns. Number 3. No, actually, no. Newman's pick, I think, would have been Leo Lion. Because that probably would have been Seattle's pick. Yeah. But anyway, so they had 2 2nd-round picks. One of them they wound up getting from Seattle. That was last year. They lost Leonard Williams. So, his win rush rate in 2022, Kayvon's, was 9.5. But I said, let's not forget, they had Leonard Williams, right, and Dexter Lawrence, right? 2 guys up the middle who can get pressure on the quarterback, right? So that quite possibly was the reason why he had a 9.5% win rate, a rush win rate in 2022, and it went down to 6.4 because they had Dexter Lawrence. Azeez Ojulari was not super duper productive last season, right? And they wound up getting rid of Leonard Williams. So basically, they had A'Shawn Robinson, Nunez Roaches. I mean, they had guys in the middle, of the defense who might have been somewhat decent at run defense, but they didn't have anybody next to Dexter Lawrence after they got rid of Leonard Williams who could rush the passer. So basically, it was Kayvon Thibodeau, it was Dexter Lawrence, and when Azeez was on the field, he was not up to his, I guess, standards for what he was from the years before when he was healthy, right? So that quite possibly would be a reason why, his pass rush win rate fell from 2022 to 2023. But, if we got Burns on one side, we got Kayvon on the other, we got a healthy, sexy Dexy, right? You got 3 guys that can rush the quarterback. Hopefully his pass rush win rate might go back up again. So we'll have to wait and see. So the Giants are high on Burns and have been for some time. He became available via trade this trade. Let's see. At the outset of free agency, Big Blue acquired Burns from the Panthers along with the San Francisco 49ers 2024 5th-round pick in exchange for a 2nd and 5th-round selection. The Giants subsequently signed Burns to a 5-year, $141 million contract. Thibodeau was the 5th overall pick out of Oregon back in 2022 by the Giants and has shown flashes of stardom. They hope the addition of Burns and new defensive coordinator Shane Bowen will serve to help him take the next step in his career. Now, and as I said, let's not forget, right? We also have, Andre Patterson will be chiming in a little bit, okay? On the edge rushers. So that can only help. Right. And let's see. And another article here says the front-loaded Giants happily putting heavy pressure on their four-man D line. Now, when Kayvon Thibodeau stepped to the podium after he practiced last month, he made a bold proclamation. At first, it sounded like he was kidding. But on second thought, maybe not. I'm going for the record, so don't ask, he said with a smile. Every year I'm here, I'm going for Michael Strahan's record. Now, have a record 22 sacks by Strahan back in 2001 and tied by Pittsburgh's TJ Watt in 2021 with 17 games, though, with an extra game. So, I mean, it's you got to keep all this stuff. And, because when in 50 years from now, when they're playing 37 games a season and somebody ties the sack record, well, yeah, you played 50 extra games. Yeah, you should tie the sack record. So. Yeah, so with TJ Watt playing an extra game, right? Yeah, soon a lot of these records, going to get tied or pay or whatever. When they keep playing extra games, yeah. Thibodeau had 11.5 sacks last season. No New York Giants pass rusher has had more than that since J.P. Paye at 12.5 back in 2014. But goals and perhaps production like that may be exactly what the Giants need this season as they switch from the creative blitz-happy defense of former coordinator Wink Martindale to the more traditional approach of his replacement, Shane Bowen. Martindale brought pressure from everywhere, hoping to keep opposing quarterbacks and offenses confused. Under Bowen, there will be no mystery about it. The Giants bolstered their pass rush with the addition of Brian Burns to a front wall that includes Thibodeau, Sexy Dexy, right? And Burns. It's a formidable start to a pass rush. And it's why Bowen wants, in fact, he needs the pressure to come from the Giants' front four. I hope it's a big strength for us, Bowen said recently. We've got guys up there. We've got resources up there. And those guys, I'm expecting big things from them. And we are going to demand big things from them. Hopefully they can play off each other. I think they complement each other in terms of what they do well. I'm going to have high standards for that group. Now we'll have to wait and see. I mean, it's like, there's Nunez Roches. Is he the one that gets most of the snaps next to Dexter Lawrence? Now Nunez Roches, right, is mostly known basically for being able to stop the run. He does not get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. So there's no choice, because the front four is everything to the pass rush in Bowen's scheme. I mean, you guys know the stats, he said, just in terms of blitz rate, what I was here compared to what we were in Tennessee. Last season, the Titans, under Bowen's direction, only blitzed 22% of the time, according to Pro Football Focus. Martindale's Giants blitzed 45%. So Martindale's basically blitzed twice as much as what Bowen did. 45 compared to just 22%. The second highest rate in the NFL. They were second behind Minnesota. Minnesota blitzed more than the Giants, actually. Let's see here. Martindale, of course, left in a huff back in January after the dispute with Brian Daboll. Then the Giants hired the 37-year-old Bowen in early February, and 1 month later, they got him the kind of pass rusher Martindale never had at his disposal, when they sent a second and a fifth round pick to Carolina and then signed Burns to the 5-year deal. Burns has 46 sacks in his 5-year career, including 8 last season. He's only had 1 season of double-digit sacks, though, the 12.5 sacks he had in 2022. Still, on both talent and production, the Giants haven't had a pass rusher like him since they traded J.P. away in 2018. And they haven't had a duo with the potential of Burns and Thibodeau since the trio of J.P., Justin Tuck, and Osi played together and combined for 30.5 sacks in 2011 on their way to the Super Bowl 46 win. The Giants are convinced that adding Burns to a group that includes the promising young Thibodeau on the other side and all-pro Dexter Lawrence in the middle gives them the building blocks of a formidable line. So, without question, with Bowen, with his, with Bowen, he without question, he wants the pressure coming from the front four. I mean, that's huge. He's going to blitz, but basically, you want to look at it like he blitzed about one out of every 5 plays. So, I mean, you can look at it like if the Giants went on the field and the opposing team went 1, 2, 3 and out, those 3 plays, the Giants may not even have blitzed at all, right? On the other hand, what the heck would that be? 9? Yeah. Bowen blitzes about last season about 1 out of every 5. Martindale last season blitzed 9 out of every 20 times. Big difference there. Big difference. But I mean, to be fair, to be honest, and all that stuff and everything, they just mentioned that article. Okay, Martindale never had we had Azeez, but the times when Azeez looked good was the years it seemed like he got injured. Right? 2022, he looked really good, but he couldn't stay on the field. I think one of the games, Kirk Cousins accidentally somehow kicked him in the thigh or something like that, hurt her. I mean, it's been like one thing after the other. Last season when Azeez was healthy, I don't know. It just wasn't quite the same. So we're not sure if he's breaking down or exactly. I mean, he's only played 3 seasons. I don't know if he's breaking down or what, but it was known the reason why he went to the second round was because he had some health issues. If he had a clean bill of health, he never had any issues at all in college, he would have been a first-round pick. He never would have made it to the Giants in the second round. Plain and simple. So, you draft somebody with an injury history, right? No matter how good they might be or good they, your mama needs a new pair of shoes, baby. You're rolling the dice. Sometimes you win. Sometimes you crap out. Sometimes you Waller out, right? Just like the Giants did with Waller, right? Get a guy with injury history, you trade around right away a 3rd-round pick for a guy with injury history with the hammies, right? The hams, right? You trade around for a couple bad hams, and you get 12 games. Guy plays 12 games for you for a 3rd-round pick. So, live and learn, right? You can't do nothing about the past, but I'm sure Shane is learning his lesson now. And what does also that mean? As we can see in his draft picks, he didn't have that many draft picks this season, right? But what did a lot of them have in common? I mean, of good athletics, good athletes, and blah, 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 stuff, but relatively healthy, clean bill of health as far as their health history in college. Right, they don't got, this guy had 4 ACL tears and this guy broke his ankle and his wrist and his shoulder. This guy separated his shoulder 42 times. There's none of that. You guys played a lot of football, right? So relatively healthy. So Shane's learning his lesson. A 3rd-round pick for a guy who plays 12 games for you. Wow. It's not good. Not good at all. All right, next, Carmen Bricillo is the latest coach tasked with fixing the Giants' ever-struggling offensive line. Yeah, the monumental task he has. Oh, my goodness. Oops. There we go. Trying to get this. There we go. Now it's working. Look up endangered species, and pictures of the Giants' offensive line coaches of the past will not appear, though their headshots would be appropriate examples to use for the professional life expectancy at this spot with this team, basically a year-to-year proposition. Yeah, I'm going to go over the coaches the Giants have had. I mean, the offensive line coaches do not last very long. The new guy on the block is Bricillo. He is the 8th offensive line coach for the Giants in the past 10 seasons. Think of what Andrew Thomas has been forced to overcome to rise into the top tier of the NFL left tackles. You got that right. I mean, that just shows to show you, what an unbelievable pick he was. Now, Gettleman had a lot of problems, a lot of issues, a lot of this, a lot of that. However, our two building blocks, offense and defense. Andrew Thomas, Sexy Dexy, from Gettleman. Right. Let's see. He has been with the franchise for 4 seasons, and Bricillo is his 5th position coach. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Really. Think about it. It's just freaking crazy. He's been with the Giants for 4 seasons, and Bricillo will be his 5th coach. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Just as Thomas gets settled hearing one voice in his ear, that voice is silenced, and a different one chimes in. Annually ranked as one of the league's worst units, the Giants' offensive line bottomed out in 2023, allowing a franchise record 85 sacks. Only the 86 Eagles ever gave up more in a season, with 104 sacks. It is no wonder co-owner John Marrott not long ago said, "You're right, it's ridiculous," when asked about the perpetually sorry state of the team's offensive line. Joe Judge in 2020 hired Mark Colombo to fix the offensive line, but Colombo got into an emotional confrontation with Judge and did not last the season, with an assistant Dave Guglielmo taking over. The Googe, I just call him for short. But when Guglielmo came in, what he was trying to do, he came in like whatever, I don't want to say halfway through the season. I can't remember exactly when it was. But when he came in, he did not want to start changing stuff up, right? So he was kind of, I don't know what the guys were doing. I guess just trying to help, I want to assist in what they were doing. He didn't want to, come in and just start changing all kinds of things up and everything like that. And then what wound up happening, if you look at the Googe's history, he only stays with the team for like 1 year or whatever, maybe 2 years at the most. He's someplace, he gets some production or whatever like that, then he's off. He's only someplace for like a year or two. So after the season was over, for him to wind up going someplace else was no big deal. I mean, it was just, it is what it is, right? Then, personable Johnson could not survive last year's swoon, and Dable jettisoned one of his coaching buddies. Yep. Oh, yeah, don't forget about Rob Sale, right? But Brian Dable arrived in 2023 and brought Bobby Johnson with him from Buffalo. The next at bat belongs to number 40, the 47-year-old Bricillo, an NFL assistant coach since 2019. Now, he's been with Dante Scarnecchia. So, Dante Scarnecchia, he was with, sorry. Okay. He was an NFL assistant since 2019, in charge of the offensive lines with the Patriots in 2020 and 2021, where he got to learn from legendary offensive line guru Dante Scarnecchia. And he was with the Raiders, obviously, the last 2 seasons. Now you got Jeff Stoutland, the offensive line coach for the Eagles. Freaking unbelievable. Unbelievable, that guy. And Dante Scarnecchia. Unfreaking believable. Right? So at least Bricillo was underneath Dante Scarnecchia. He got to learn under him. Okay. And what he did with the Raiders, with far less talent, he got a very operable line. Now, we're not talking the top 5, top 10 line or something like that, but what he had to work with, he made the most out of it. Now, let's hope he can do the same thing here with the Giants. Right. The next at bat belongs to the 47-year-old, right? Bricillo. Bricillo knows what he's getting into, but it's not harping on last year's historically bad performance with players he is just now getting to know. We live in a glass house at this position, so no, Bricillo said, there are things we want to improve on as a group. Truly, it's a clean slate. We're looking at moving forward and what we can do to do that. The way the Giants are lining up this spring, there will be 3 returning starters and 2 newcomers. Free agent signing John Runyon and Jermaine Illuminor. Right? So we're looking at, as of right now, looking at maybe Neal, right tackle, Runyon, right guard, John Michael Schmidt, center, Illuminor, left guard, and, of course, Andrew Thomas at left tackle. So we got Thomas at the ankle, left tackle. Runyon is playing right guard. Illuminor is at left guard. Evan Neal is getting another crack at right tackle. And Michael Schmitz returns for his second season at center. I'd say for me, as we get later into training camp, if we're not really set, you might see me get a little worried, Bricillo said. The 2023 Raiders under Bricillo allowed 40 sacks. Giants allowed 85. It all starts up front, guys. If you can't run block, if you can't pass block, forget about it. Just close up shop and just worry about next season. I mean, forget about it. If you can't win in the trenches, it's still in the trench. It's still a trenches game. Let's see. Bricillo's with the team, the Raiders last season, with far less talent than the Giants have drafted. Okay, only gave up 40 sacks. Only 11 teams gave up fewer. I mean, with the amount of talent that he had to work with, that's very impressive. Very, very impressive. And they were 9th in the league in sacks allowed in 2022, with just 35. So basically, think about this. 2022, 2023, the Raiders gave up 75 sacks 2 seasons. Last season, the Giants, 1 season, 85 sacks. 75 sacks, 2 seasons, 85 sacks, 1 season. Wow. That's mind-boggling. That's freaking mind-boggling. They only gave him 35 sacks. It says in this article here, the Giants would kill for those numbers. Could you imagine if the Giants only gave up 35 sacks in a season? Could you imagine that? I think Carm is a teacher, a good coach, a good teammate, Daboll said. He has a good understanding of how we do things. He's made certain adjustments, too, to try to improve where we're at. Also new on the scene is James Ferentz, hired as an assistant offensive line coach. Ferentz recently retired after an eight-year NFL career and was with Bricillo in New England. So, right. So I think that's it is interesting though. Has been retired and all that stuff, and I'm like, who? What? But no, he was with them in New England, right? You'll start learning underneath them, right? The make or break player in this group is obviously Evan Neal. I mean, that's going to be big. Yeah, because he's going to get a chance, right? To see if we can do a right tackle, but he has a couple months because that basically what Bricillo was saying is he's kind of hoping once you get close to whatever, July, August, whatever, he's going to want to start settling down on the Fab Five, right? And if you start juggling, he's like, "Ooh, I don't know about Neal. I don't know." You know what I mean? So, hopefully he sees something with Neal, right? But let me go. So we got 2015. All right, go back to 2015. Offensive line coach Pat Flaherty, who had been here for quite a few years. Okay. He got out. I can't blame him. 2015, where are we at here? Because basically that was Coughlin's final season, right? And in steps McAdoo for 2016 and part of 2017. offensive line coach Mike Solari, 2016. All right, and we got 2017, Mike Solari. And then, of course, then Shermer comes in 2018. Then we get Hal Hunter. That was in 2018. And then we have Hal Hunter in 2019. And, of course, then Shermer's gone. So then you got to bring in somebody else for Joe Judge. And for 2020, of course, then he had Mark Colombo, but then the Dooge was in there too. Don't forget about that in 2020. And in 2021, and this is the problem. I mean, we bring in new coaches every 2 years. 2021, offensive line coach Rob Sale. Forgot about him. But then, of course, then Joe Judge is gone. Rob Sale is gone. You bring in Brian Dable. Bobby Johnson's here. And Bobby Johnson's here for 2 horrible seasons. He's gone. You bring in Carmen Bricillo. So it's like, it's unbelievable. That's one of the biggest problems also is with, bringing in new coaches every 2 seasons. That means that, some of the coaching staff's gone. You bring in new coaches. I mean, it's like, how are you supposed to get any kind of continuity going on with offensive line, and like every other week, you got a new offensive line coach coming in. How are you supposed to, very, very difficult. But Carmen Bricillo has his work cut out for him, but I think he's certainly, I'm very excited about what he can possibly do. I'm not saying we're going to be a top 10 unit or not like that, but I think we can certainly go from number 32 and maybe down to anywhere from maybe 15 to 20. If he's all that in a bag of Doritos, I think we can get down maybe hopefully he's around number 20. That you can kind of work with. You can kind of work. We won 6 games last season. 3rd string quarterback, right? And the 32nd ranked offensive line. 85 sacks, and we still won 6 games. And if Graham Gano doesn't miss that field goal against the 3-yard field goal against the Jets because he was injured, I mean, we win 7 games somehow. You know what I mean? So he has his work cut out for him. All right, then we got next. New York Giants receiver building big buzz at I don't understand when I get this. Jason Burgess, Sports Not. Good article, really good article. I love it. But I mean, he's got New York Giants receiver building big buzz at mandatory OTAs. I thought it was voluntary OTAs. So I don't know. And he says, receiver building big buzz at the OTAs. I'll just say that. It's not mandatory. And he's saying, and it's not Malik Neighbors. While there's a lot of hype around the New York Giants rookie receiver Malik Neighbors, it seems a pass catcher they drafted last year is garnering high praise from his coaches at offseason training activities this week. There are many reasons why the Giants regressed in 2023 after reaching the playoffs and winning a game 2 years ago. The defense was not as impactful. Saquon Barkley could not match his Pro Bowl form in 2022, and Daniel Jones regressed before an injury ended his season midway through the year. Another area of the team that disappointed was the receiving group. None of their youngsters or veterans could elevate their game to be threats in the passing attack. An offseason addition. Darren Waller was a massive disappointment. He wasn't. I mean, the big disappointment was he had to miss the games, miss 5 games. Now, I mean, I think he caught 52 passes. Now, if he had played the whole season, he was on track to catch over 70 balls. He would have had 700 to 800 receiving yards. So that's not a massive disappointment. I mean, the massive, and again, it's hard to say massive disappointment because you knew he was going to have quite possibly he was going to have some issues with his hamstring. So it's, it was a disappointing, sure. It was an upsetting, sure. But I mean, massive. For 12 games, he caught 52 passes. I think it was 52 on a horrible team. That's not that disappointing, So there's a lot of hope heading into the season that the LSU star can become the legitimate number one receiver, meaning Malik Neighbors, that they have not had since OBJ. However, it seems 2023 rookie Jaylen Hyatt has taken a major step forward after a lot of improvements in the offseason. See, that's one thing you really like to see, right? Like the guy goes out on his own. It's like, I want to be as best as I can. I want to help this team, whatever, whatever his aspirations are, When he actually goes out on his own, right, and does something about it. Really, I'm really impressed with that. Now, apparently he worked on getting some size. He got a little bigger, right? He's got maybe some upper strength muscle, because apparently one of the problems he was having, was maybe getting off man press, guys getting into his face. They snapped the ball and the guy jamming him at the line. He had maybe not as strong as he could be or should be or whatever, being able to get off the man press. The thing was, obviously with him is his speed. Now, you don't want to add too much weight, right? Where you start adding too much weight where it starts slowing you down a little bit like that. But apparently, everything's still fine. That's good. All right. See, his growth so far, a year removed from where he first got here, is tremendous. Giants receiver coach Mike Groh said at mandatory OTAs this week. All of the work that he put in, investing in his game, learning what, how, and why, he's just a different guy. He's got stronger here in the offseason. Love it. And I said, hopefully he's a Giant for life. I can't stand when you draft guys and they're like your little babies, could you go? They play 4 years. Get out. I can't stand that. So hopefully he's a Giant for a long time, man. But he's working on his craft. That's fantastic. He's taking it really seriously, right? It's fantastic. Oh, I gotta love it. And I absolutely freaking loved it when Steve Smith was in there. I absolutely loved it. Thank goodness that Shane and him had, Steve Smith had the bond going back to 2001 with Carolina, right? They kept that bond going, right? The connection. And, got Steve Smith coming in here, right? Showing some pointers. And I'll tell you what, boy, if you ever open up the Webster's Dictionary and you look at it like whatever, somebody who got the most out of the least, that would be Steve Smith. He wasn't blessed with 4.3 speed. He wasn't Randy Moss size. He didn't have long 39-inch arm. And then he couldn't jump through a roof and stuff like that. But I'll tell you what, he got the absolute most with what he had. Let me tell you what, he fought and clawed and punched and shoved and cursed to every one of his almost 15,000 yards receiving. That's freaking amazing. Absolutely amazing. And you look at what he did with Carolina. It wasn't the greatest show on turf. I can tell you that much. You know what I mean? He didn't have Joe Montana throwing him the football, right? There wasn't Dan Marino gunning it down to him. Tom Brady wasn't, it was 15,000 yards with like Jake Delhomme. Yeah, really? So tell you what, I freaking absolutely love it that they got Steve Smith in there. Oh, my bad. 2 thumbs up for that. When the Giants drafted Hyatt in round 3 last year, there was belief he was a steal at pick 73. Absolutely. That his speed alone, you can't. There's no, you can. There's certain things you can't. You can't make yourself taller, right? But you can make yourself stronger. You can work on your hand-eye coordination. You can work on your agility. You can't you can't go from a 4.5 down to a 4.3. Yeah, that's not happening. Yeah, you can't replace his speed. You know what I mean? So, his speed at number 73. It's a good pick, really good pick. And the Giants jumped up and got their guy. I like that. While he showed flashes of his upside in 7 starts last season, the offense was too much of a mess to really make a major impact. However, with opponents likely focusing on neighbors this year, right, Hyatt has a path to have a big season if he truly has taken his game to new levels in year 2. You have to wait and see. But I mean, a lot of that focus, good article. I like that. Really, really good. Real short, sweet, and all that, but really, really, really good article. As I said, from Jason Burgess, looks like from Sports Not. But yeah, I mean, it's with Neighbors being on the field, he's going to take some attention, without question. And I tell you what, if Wandale can keep things up, if he can stay healthy, right, and keep progressing, you have to keep an eye on him too. Not that he's going to grab it, maybe take it to the house or not, but I mean, he's tough to cover. Neighbors, tough to cover, right? And then you got to keep an eye on this guy, Mr. Jalen Hyatt over here, right? Who's got the rocket up his butt. You pause on him for a second, he's past you, right? You can't do that, right? I mean, if you're so worried about all these other guys underneath and stuff like that, you got Hyatt shooting, and hey, let's not forget about Slayton either. He's got some speed too. I mean, we got a fast group of receivers. Right? I like it. All right, then we got, of course, Nick the Dick. I mean, this guy is the worst coach in all football. The guy's an absolute freaking joke. They were 10-1, not because of him, in spite of him. I mean, it wasn't like, oh my God, this guy Nick Sirianni. No. He sucks. He's absolute trash. He's an absolute horrible coach. The reason why they went to the Super Bowl a couple of years was not because of him, because of his coordinators. I mean, he sucks. Sirianni just straight up blows. He's absolute trash. He's the worst coach in football. You're 10-1, and you can't even win 12 games, and you get blown out by about 852 points in the playoffs to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're absolute trash. You blow. Absolute blow. Absolute trash. I mean, it's just absolute, just total joke. Absolute total joke. I mean, in the game, I think it was against the Giants. They were winning like first quarter or something like that. He looks at the he's like trying to find the camera, and he's going to go like in the camera. It's like, who does that? What coach does that? I mean, we've had some bad coaches over the years and this, that, and the other. What coach does that? I mean, what an absolute freaking joke. Absolute freaking joke. He's the worst coach in football, which I'm happy of because I can't stand the Eagles. That's good. Hope they keep him forever. Absolute joke. So, of course, Nick the Dick winds up shooting his mouth off again, taking a dig, taunting the Giants fans. We got your best player. Well, no, we gave up on him. Not so much gave up on him, but he's if we really wanted him, we could have signed him. You know what I mean? We didn't overpay for him like you guys did. But Nick the Dick has his comeback ready for whenever Giant fans irritate the Eagles head coach during the 2024 season, and for 2 years after that too. Well, Nick the Dick may not be around for 2 years after that. So, sometimes you see Giant fans around here with it being so close, and they give me a good like, hey, go Giants. If I saw that worthless piece of human trash, I'm not saying anything to him. Yeah, matter of fact, if he's over there, I'll be walking the other way. I don't like standing around human pieces of trash. If I see a piece of trash, I just get away from it as fast as possible. And I typically let it go. But if the guy gets me good enough, I usually say, we got your best player. No. I think our best player is Malik Neighbors. You didn't get Malik Neighbors. Sorry. You didn't get a 7-year running back who's had a lot of tread taken off his tires, who gets injured all the time, who you just paid $13, $14 million a year for. That's not our best player. Our best player is Malik Neighbors now. fresh out of college. Somebody's gonna do some good things in the NFL. That's our best player. So you got a worn out tire, okay, with a lot of tread taken off it, and you paid probably twice as much as what you should have for this worn out tire, okay? Then than anybody else would have. So no. So actually, you guys are the idiots. But running back Saquon Barkley was signed as a 3-year deal with the Eagles, right? Spent the first 6 seasons with the Giants. And the Giants, once again, used them a lot. 6 seasons. When the Giants weren't using them a lot, why? And the only other times the Giants were not using them a lot was when he was injured. Right? So when he was on the field, he was getting used a lot. I love Saquon. Absolute class act human being, class act guy. I would still love to have him be on the team, absolutely. But we used him a lot. And when we weren't using him a lot was because he was injured. And basically the Eagles paid twice as much for him as basically any other team was going to pay for him, including the Giants. So you overpaid for somebody. Let's see. There were plenty of negotiations dating back to 2022 season to try and keep the former number 2 overall pick with the Giants for the rest of his career, a sentiment Barkley echoed when asked about it in the past. But after getting franchise tagged and eventually signing a 1-year deal in 2023 campaign, Barkley departed for the Beagles. Let's see here. I had visions back of like him on the sideline and us watching all these plays on the sideline of Saquon making somebody miss and Saquon making somebody miss and doing it again, Sirianni said. But as I said, you also got to remember. I mean, the guy, has had a lot of carries, right? Last season, he didn't even average 4 yards a carry for the Giants. Once again, he missed some time. He's probably going to miss time with the Eagles, right? Barkley rushed for 615 yards and 7 touchdowns in 9 games against the Eagles, according to Stat News, including 2 rushing scores and 97 combined yards when the Giants defeated the Eagles last season in the finale and snapped a 5-game losing streak in what turned out to be his final game with the organization, which is true. But I mean, for Nick, the dick. I mean, that's all he is. He's just worthless piece of trash. I mean, yeah. I'm saying, do you ever hear Brian Dable say something like that? Yeah, I mean, ever say anything like that? Would Brian Dable ever look for the camera, and just go like Nick Sirianni? I mean, what is wrong with you, dude? Really? Are we in kindergarten here or something? I mean, you're not much of a ass hole. I mean, are you kidding me, dude? Are we in romper room here? Do we need to change your diaper or something? Did you pee your pants? I mean, are you that much of a baby? I mean, dude, grow the hell up, man. What the hell is wrong with you, man? What an idiot. Absolute freaking idiot. And basically, it all is like, open mouth and insert shoe or whatever that's saying. I mean, he's just like, And hopefully, when they go down this year, I'll be there. I'll be loving every second of it, just the way I loved it last season. And they were 10-1, and they couldn't even win 12 games, and he had no answer for it, no answer. Then they go on the road and they lose. Was it by 23 points? 23 points. They were 10-1 and they lose by 20. They couldn't even score 10 points on the road. I mean, what an idiot. Absolute freaking idiot. What a freaking moron. And I tell you what, I mean, hopefully, I don't want ever anybody getting injured. Anybody, right? But I hope they lose every game. I would absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. When you got a guy who's just not a good coach, you just keep your mouth shut, man. Just keep your mouth shut. All right, and then finally here, and this is from Giants Country, from Patty Trainer. She did this on her, I think it was video. I think she did it wasn't last night. Was it last night? was it? Yes, it was 2 days ago. I think she was talking to guy Myers, who wrote a book. It says the Giants must make this change to unlock more for the offense in 2024. And guy, it's hard to argue with that. Hard to argue with that. Meaning Brian Daboll needs to start calling the plays. Now the thing is that it's good and it's bad. The Giants brought him in, right? Because he's good with quarterbacks. He's good at calling plays. I might like to see some of that. The Giants had a historic comeback against the Cardinals last season. You got to go back to December 2nd, 1945, when the Eagles were up 21-0 over the Giants. We're going back. Freaking almost 80 years before the Giants were back down and they came back and won from being down like 21 points. Right? A historic comeback. Steve Van Buren ran the opening kickoff back in the third quarter against the Giants at the Polo Grounds for the Eagles on December 2nd, 1945, and the Eagles were up 21-0. And the Giants scored 4 touchdowns in a row. Didn't give up another point by the Eagles, and the Giants won 28-21 over the Eagles on December 2nd, 1945 at the Polo Grounds. And the Giants were not a very good team that year either. The Eagles were good. Eagles had a winning record. The Giants were not very good that year. But, so we go back like 80 years. All of a sudden, Brian Daboll starts calling plays, right, for the Giants. It was like night and day. Night and day. Right? How we just started scoring points, right? I think, I said it's good and bad because you look at the 4 touchdowns. I'm an idiot. The 4 Super Bowls the Giants won, right? 2-2. Parcells, Coughlin, right? Parcells is on the sideline, right? He's not calling any plays. You got Belichick. He's not calling the offensive plays, right? Coughlin, right? He's on the sideline. He's not calling plays. He's not calling defense. He's not calling offensive plays. He's delegating. He can keep an eye on everything. The team, overall team. If it's called timeout or this or that or something, he's not engulfed in the play calling and stuff like that. He can stay focused on everything else. Delegates the play calling to the other guys. Right. Same thing with Parcells. Right, Parcells was on the sideline. He can run and call timeout or whatever, stuff like that, or get in the guy's face and start yelling at him or whatever, or praising the guy, something like that, whatever, right? But so there is a little bit of a drawback, to a coach. You got your head coach. He's calm. You lose a little something, right? But when you're struggling. Right. And I don't want to say it's going to be a make or break season for him or not. If the Giants go 4 wins or something, like 4 or 5 wins, this might be a make or break season for him. But I have a hard, unless they get totally decimated by injuries, I have a hard time believing that's going to happen. But if you're starting to get into those type of make or break seasons or whatever, if the Titanic has hit the iceberg, it's starting to go down, right? Don't you want to go down with your guns ablazing, right? You want to go, as the Titanic is sinking, you want to be standing on the sideline with other people calling plays and stuff like that. You're like, I'm just going to stay here. Yeah, we're losing again. Yep, I'm just going to sit here and do nothing, Or do you want to go down with your guns blazing, calling plays like how to do, right? And that's why the Giants brought him in here, right? Go with quarterbacks, right? Good at calling plays, right? There's a reason why they brought him in. Might be good to see. Might be nice to see. As I said, so this is from Patty Trainer. Let's Let's see. One of the biggest reasons the Giants hired Brian Daboll as their head coach in 2022 was his work as offensive coordinator with the Buffalo Bills, particularly with their quarterback, Josh Allen. Right? Not saying Daniel Jones is Josh Allen. Not saying that. But yet, when the Giants hired Brian Daboll, he took on more of a CEO-style role as head coach, instead of turning the play calling over to Mike Kafka, who had never held that role at any level before being named the Giants' offensive coordinator. With Kafka at the controls, the Giants' offense finished 18th overall in 2022, averaging 333.9 yards per game and scoring an average of 21.5 points in a season in which the Giants enjoyed relatively good health. Last year, however, was a different story. The Giants' offense finished 29th, 280 yards per game, and averages 15.6 points per game. Oh, my God. The offense was also wrecked by injuries to quarterbacks Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor, running back Saquon Barkley, and left tackle Andrew Thomas, and tight end Darren Waller. As the Giants enter year 3 of the Daboll era, all signs seem to point to Daboll calling the plays this year. Those begin with the head coach leaving the door open to that possibility at the end of last season, and continue with the promotion of Kafka to assistant head coach, a role that could see him taking additional game day duties, leaving him no time to handle play calling. But more importantly, the Giants this year, the pressure is on Daboll to turn things around, especially with the team needing to decide after this year whether they want to continue running it back with Jones as the quarterback or exit from his deal once the guaranteed money is paid out. When asked about taking on the play calling, Daboll said he hasn't made a final decision and probably won't until the end of training camp. But it not only looks like that will be the direction he takes, but it also makes the most sense. Realistically, the Giants hired Daboll. This is from Patty Traynor. She was talking to Gary Myers. Okay, and this was Gary Myers said. Gary Myers has written several books. Realistically, the Giants hired Brian Daboll because of the offensive work he did in Buffalo with Josh Allen, and because he was a creative play caller. Let's not also forget, he was in the offensive side with Alabama too, right? Before he went to Buffalo, right? Said, what he did, he was a creative play caller. Said former New York Giants sports columnist Gary Myers during an appearance on the Locked On Giants podcast. This is a dilemma that so many coaches face when they're coordinators, regardless of which side of the ball. They get a head coaching job and they go, okay, let's delegate and just be the CEO of the operation. While in doing that, they take a step back from what they do best unless they've hired somebody that they have complete faith in doing the things to get the offense or the defense rolling. And now, to be honest with you, I mean, he brought in somebody who, complete faith. There's no way he can possibly have anywhere as much complete faith in Mike Kafka handing over, because he'd never done it before. So I have a hard time, with him handing the play calling duties over to Mike Kafka, and having him have 100% confidence in Kafka being able to do it. I have a hard time seeing that, right? The Giants have had past success with coordinators becoming head coaches, like CEO style. Bill Parcells, Hall of Fame head coach, and did after he being promoted from defensive coordinator because he had Bill Belichick to run the defense, right? More recently, of course, Tom Coughlin, who was an offensive coordinator at Syracuse from 1976 to 1980, before taking on position coach roles in the NFL, and trusted the Giants' offense to Kevin Gilbride for the bulk of his tenure with the Giants, right? Let's see here. Then there have been head coaches of the team who didn't handle their dual role as head coach and play caller, such as Ben McAdoo and Pat Shurmur. Pat Shurmur, I tell you what, when Shurmur was here, the first season, we had the Daniel Jones' first season. We had 24 touchdown passes and 12 interceptions in only 12 games. So he got Daniel Jones to throw 2 touchdown passes a game. If we can get Daniel Jones to throw 34 touchdown passes, sign me up for that, baby. But of course, that was Daniel Jones' rookie season. He had a ton of turnovers. That was a ton. But that was Pat Shurmur's final season here with the Giants. So Pat Shurmur got the offense going. We got some points and all that stuff and everything, but he was not a very good head coach. Right? Myers said that ideally the head coach should be the CEO who delegates, but when things aren't unfolding as hoped, sometimes drastic measures are needed to get it right. Let's see. You'll find a lot of coaches who have a specialty on one side of the ball that when things aren't going exactly the way they planned for a couple of years, will take back the play calling on what they do best, Myers said. Mike McCarthy, did that in Dallas, and they put up big numbers last year, but then they obviously imploded in the playoffs. Myers stressed that if Dable were to take back the play calling, it would not necessarily reflect Kafka's ability to do it, given that he hasn't had much offensive material to work with. No, he hasn't. Rather, it's a matter of the pressure to win big being ratcheted up to the point that if Dable is going to go down with the ship, he might as well be at the steering wheel doing what he does best. Absolutely. Instead of standing on a sideline letting somebody else call plays, when you do better calling plays than they do. Kafka eventually moves on to a head coaching job. The Giants can at least be assured of having a consistent play caller in the quarterback's ear if the change ends up being successful. So we'll have to wait and see. Now for this season, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be upset with that any stretch of imagination, because especially if they have Kafka, right? Because they, if he's the assistant head coach, right? You got Dable calling plays. You can maybe delegate some of the stuff that Dable was doing to what Kafka was doing. Give him a couple things to do. Right? If he's the assistant head coach, let him look out for other certain things or whatever. Right? If I'm involved in calling the plays, I want you to look out for this and this, because that's what I was doing when I was the head coach and you were calling plays. Right? So I wouldn't be upset at all. I'd be actually rather excited to see what he can wind up doing. I'm very excited to see what we can do with Daniel Jones once again. Got Drew Lock coming in. Let's see if Dable calls plays. I'm very, very excited to possibly see where this winds up going. But I think if Dable called plays this year, I think that would be, I said it, if you're going down with the ship, you want to go down with guns a-blazing. You don't want to be just standing there. Oh, okay, yeah, we're losing again, 32-0. Okay, yeah, I guess I'll get fired next week. No. Right. All right, guys, been 1 hour and 17 minutes. Ruben, thank you, brother. Appreciate the comment. Thank you so much. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.